Games and Groceries presents the Tell Me Why Roundtable Discussion. With special guest, Mai Queti. Let's conclude with Chapter 3.
Welcome back, everybody, to another Tell Me Why Roundtable discussion where we talk everything about Tell Me Why Chapter 3. And we got a special guest with us.
A special guest?
A special guest.
Woohoo!
I'm so excited. It's Mai Queti!
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Mai. How you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah?
How are you guys?
I'm pretty okay. I just got new piercings this week, and that's why I'm not wearing the regular headphones, because I put them on.
And then you get terrified.
Oh, no. I put them on, and I said, ooh, ow, my big boo-boo. It hurts. Mommy, please help.
It hurt?
A little bit. Yeah, so I'll have these earbuds on for like 3 weeks until they're like not so tender anymore.
Until they're healed and we get new earrings in.
Yes. And Liz, you're doing okay.
I'm doing okay.
Yeah. Mai, are you doing okay?
I am okay.
Okay.
Woohoo!
We are okay.
We're all okay. It's
That's
2020
good.
and we're still doing okay.
We are just okay.
Considering this year, I would say.
Yeah.
True that.
Okay, it's just like, yeah.
That's like stellar. If you can be at the okay level, it's like, all right, you're doing good. Moving
I'm
on.
doing good.
So I think it's time to get started with our conversation. So before we get started, just want to say, first, hi, if you're watching us on YouTube, how you doing? Subscribe, please, and hit that
Yeah.
notification bell if you want to know more about the channel. Boop, boop, boop. Anyways, so what this is not, so let's put this in this way. This is not a game review. We're not going to go over some nitpicks about the gameplay or anything like that. This isn't a full game review. This is more of a discussion. At least my second point. What this is more of a discussion of the story and the real life circumstances within the actual tales of this particular chapter in Chapter 3. And I think that's pretty much it. If you listen to our last 2 episodes, you know what the deal is.
And huge spoilers ahead.
Yeah, massive spoilers. Quite ahead. Here we are. And go.
You just clipped like majorly.
Oopsies. So let's start. So we start with the episode where Allison, that's her name.
Good job.
Allison is having a big old nightmare. And she's in her room and she's thinking about her mom a lot. And we get this kind of like twisted tale about, she's actually turning into her mom.
Yeah.
Do we have any thoughts about that nightmare that she had? And including when she's on the pier and she turns around, it's like, oh no, her mother's actually her all along.
I saw that one coming.
Yeah, I think we all saw that one coming. But what do you all think about that, the nightmare scene?
I didn't really think about it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just kind of like, what was it, foreshadowing or?
No, for me it was just like, all right. Like it was just like, all right, she's panicked. She's under a ton of stress and nightmares happen. That's all I really thought about it, was that she's just stressed.
Yeah. Maya, did you have any thoughts on it?
I think that the nightmare kind of has a lot of weight because we can see a lot of guilt.
Yes.
Mhm.
Like, you have those mean voices in your head telling you you're garbage.
Mhm.
And like, this is very like present when you're guilty about something. And the fact that they considered their mother to be unstable, that she was unstable when, of course, she was alive. But this fear of this guilt, these voices, this power they have, because it happens, and it's very connected with the power she shares with Tyler. And it's like, okay, this power is messing with my head too. And I think we saw that in the previous episode when Tyler is not using the voice to talk to her, like in his mind, but he says something that he didn't really say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's related directly to that, but it's showing you that Allison is in a really bad place, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, she hasn't really moved on. She's still thinking about it. She's carried this kind of, I'll say it, lie with her pretty much her entire life into her adulthood. And it does show a ton of guilt and I think that weight of she knows she's becoming her mother and she's so scared of that. Kind of going into like, what kind of personality am I going into? Yeah. I think it does show that kind of guilt, which leads into the next scene where she's walking through the house and she's starting to see, ghosts of guilt, right? Including Eddie, who's calling her a dirty little snake, and all these different things, like Tyler being scared, her mother's there. It's just kind of like the ghosts of your past that are bringing into yourself, and you just start to, really deep down in yourself, just trying to like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Just crumbling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's letting your inner thoughts kind of take over your entire head. Yeah.
So I guess the point I wanted to make is, and I'm not trying to put anybody on the spot here. So just really quick personal questions. So since we're talking about the realism of this game, especially with a company like Dontnod, did we ever feel like this is kind of a real life thing that happens, right? When we have panic attacks or we're feeling with guilt, do we just go through the nightmares, but even just walking around our house? And I wouldn't say literal visions.
Yeah.
But, like things remind you of
this.
Like
all-consuming.
Yeah. How real was this scene? In our own personal opinions, not in a psychiatric, expert opinion, but like our own personal appearance. What do you think? Mai, would you like to go first, or am I putting you on the spot?
You are putting me on the spot.
Oh, dang it.
but yeah, it's fine. I think there are some pathologies. I am pretty sure that this could be a real thing.
Yeah.
It probably is a real thing. I personally, of course, don't relate to that. But I do think that our minds have this really tricky way to make us feel even worse, if it makes any sense.
Yeah.
You have a personal opinion on yourself, and you're terrified that someone you love has that opinion. So when you're hearing their voice, it's even worse than if you're telling that to yourself. So I think it's actually a thing. It has to do with the insecurities you have, and especially if you're feeling guilty or whatever.
Yeah.
In this case, it's very relatable, I think. Not the vision with the Sparky thing, of course, but this fear of what everyone else will think about me,
Yeah.
So I think it's very well made in that regard.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pressure of that situation is very real in that. Liz, do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, and I've had panic attacks very similar to what she had. I don't have panic attacks in the way of like the hard to breathe and shaking. It's the way she had it, where it's just like intrusive thoughts and obsessive thoughts. Like it's all I can think about, and it's hearing people's words. What are they thinking, or going over the same situation in my head over and over and over again. And actually growing up, I struggled with a very guilty conscience. Like this, not like the situation. I didn't do anything like that.
Yeah.
But a very guilty conscience where it was very obsessive. Like, I have to tell someone or I'm going to explode. Like, and be over stupid, tiny, really horrible thing. Like, not really horrible, but like things that literally no one else would think twice about. So I do relate to the situation. And then I liked how a little later in the episode at the police station, when she has a panic attack, she pulls out the app to help her breathe.
Yes.
And when I pulled out, I'm like, oh, it's this thing. You're like, wait, you know what this is?
I had no idea that kind of phone app existed. Like, she's just like putting on her phone. Like, is she about to play Spotify? Like, what's about to go on here? I'm like,
So I'm like, I recognize it because I had seen it on Facebook before.
Yeah.
And it's to help you focus on your breathing instead of whatever's bothering you or whatever's driving you crazy. It's to help you regulate your breathing and focus on one thing, and that's keeping the same pace as that circle. So I really liked that they included that because, one, I don't think a lot of people know about it. It's really helpful, and even if you're not having a panic attack, it can help when you're anxious.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it just helps you refocus. And I've done it a couple, like if I passed it on Facebook, I was like, all right. And I was like, oh, I feel good. Like it's just really helpful.
Yeah.
So I like that they included that.
Yeah, I had no idea those kind of apps. I saw you shaking your head. Did you know about those?
Yeah, I did. And there was a thing like, as you know, we have the Life is Strange Funds website. And
yes.
At some point, we included a section that's called the Kate Support Club.
Oh, wow.
Where people could just come and talk about whatever it was bothering them. Of course, we always directed them to professionals, but if we could help somehow. And there was a lot of people having anxiety issues and panic issues. And there's something we kind of discovered as we went along, that if they are focusing on testing, that helps.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're talking with someone, but the fact that you have to like put your focus on what are you going to write to this person. And the app works in the same way, like keeps your focus there. And after we realized that it was useful, I personally started to like investigate. There's a lot of apps that follow the same concept. And when I saw it show up in the game, I'm like, this is great, because it's nowadays anxiety is like just such a common thing. Everyone has it.
Yeah.
In one way or another. So the fact that we started to use technology to help people like that, it's just a free app you can just download anywhere, and it really helps. So I was really happy to see that included.
Mai, if I could ask you something about Argentina, if I could, because you're from,
Yeah, of course.
yeah, you're located in Argentina, which is not in America.
Good job.
It's in South America.
Good job.
Yeah, I
Doing
passed geography.
great.
Thank you. So here up in North America,
Oh my goodness.
well, that includes Canada too. But here in the USA, you know, anxiety, depression, anything like related to that has been more accepted. But there's also a lot of different people. I won't say what political party that are just kind of against all that, right? Saying like, oh, you're just being a snowflake.
They think you're weak if you have anxiety.
Yeah, so it's being accepted, but there's also a struggle of, oh, you're just being a weak little sad snowflake person, whatever. Whatever would they want to label you.
Yeah.
Does Argentina do things differently? Is it more accepted? Is there more fights? What's it like over there?
I think it is more accepted now. We also happen to have like a public health system, so you are covered no matter your income or whatever. You can be homeless and have, you know, a system you can rely on. It's not great because, of course, it's kind of collapsed at the moment, but like it includes mental health in many aspects, and even free medication if you need it. Like we are pretty open about that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it has improved in the past, I don't know, 10 years or so, because we have this culture the same way as you guys. Like, this is a week, you're weak if you're feeling this way, you have to man up, you know?
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And it has improved a lot. And when I see other situations in other countries, like, they still consider mental health like a second thing, like it's not important.
Yeah.
And there's a constant thing here in my circles and the people I talk with, and generally speaking, that they try to make people understand that mental health is as important as physical health. So there is a movement about that, and I am pretty happy about it.
That's good.
And yeah, like having this kind of games that touches these really hard and complicated topics, it's also amazing. It's a way to push people forward in the right direction. You know?
Yeah.
No, right. Like the fact that it's actually in a major release title.
Yeah.
Like just merely the topic of panic attacks.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the beginning of this episode, not feel like, I don't know why I say it in these episodes. Like, I feel like it's more of like, no, it's what I know. I know, Adam. Anyways, thank you, Adam. Good boy. Anyways, so
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Thank you. Once in a while, I would like to say, good boy, Adam.
I tell you you're a good boy every day.
What do you tell me now?
I just did.
But you got to say it.
You're a good boy.
Thank you.
Now move on.
Anyways, so with this, it has a lot to do with panic attacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
Especially with Allison. Me, I've only gone through a couple panic attacks, one more recently. And I go through so little panic attacks that I just feel like, oh, I'm just, being a little bit anxious right now. It's like, oh, wait, no, you had a panic attack. But I like how this kind of related to that, where you start to feel an immense amount of guilt.
Mm-hmm.
She's talking to Michael about it, which, by the way, one little side note here, where Michael came into the house and, you were talking about, Allison's talking about, oh, should I visit Tyler? And Michael's just saying, oh, I could come with you to visit Tyler if you want.
I could visit him for you, check things out.
I was like, ooh, Michael, player from another mayor. I was like, dang, Michael. And that's all I thought about. I was like, yeah, he's being all caring, but also, hi, Tyler. Just a little
You're
side.
having an agenda right now, Michael. I can see that.
I see you, Michael. I see you. Like I said, player from another mayor. Anyways, but yeah, moving forward into the police department, right?
Yeah.
Let's just jump into the big moments, right? Because there's like a little bit of moments where she has that panic attack where Greg's Googers. Anyways, he starts talking to her. She has a panic attack with the phone. But let's move to the big moment where
or the lack thereof.
Well, yeah, we can talk about that. You have the choice to finally tell Eddie the truth about that night. What did you choose?
It took me totally by surprise.
Yeah.
I was like, what? What am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
I mean, the morally right thing would be like, hey, I kill her. And I blame my brother for it. But at the same time, it's like, it's so not Allison. Like, it will mean a growth in her character because she has been, ignoring the issue. Bottling up all the time. And you could still keep doing it. I'm like, Allison, come on, it's over. You had the worst morning possible. It's time to stop. So I saw the two choices. I'm like, okay, one will lead to character growth, and the other one will be continuing this mistake all the time. I still had to pause the game and walk away because, God, I can't deal with this right now. This is too much. I can't do it. But eventually, I decided to tell Eddie about it, and I was kind of terrified because I wasn't 100% sure Eddie was the cool guy that seems to be. I was kind of I'm still not convinced.
Same.
But his reaction actually surprised me for good. Of course, the shock, you can't lie for 13 years about a murder.
Yeah.
But he accepted that and told her it required guts to do what she did. And sure. I'm okay, it was the right call here.
Yeah, we also I again, Liz played, I took notes. Liz also decided to tell her, and that's the thing when you're saying lack thereof, you have this big confessional.
Well, one, like Mai said, it was all of a sudden you're putting it hey, are you going to tell him or are you not? I'm I was waiting for it, but I didn't know it was going to be right now. And so I chose it, and they had their moment, and he's like, all right, that was a lot of guts, and it was a very nice moment. And then it's okay, bye.
Yeah, they go okay, well, homie, what's up? Boom, boom, boom. Which is
they had this nice little moment, and then it's oh, she didn't just tell you that she stabbed her mother when she was 11.
Well, not only that, but
and then they were ignoring the fact that
that
the stab didn't kill the mother. She's like, I killed my mom, and my reaction would have been no, you didn't. She drowned. Remember?
Yeah, in the autopsy report in the second chapter, we find out that the wound wasn't the fatal; it was drowning.
Allison attempted to kill her mother.
Yeah.
but she didn't kill her mother. And like, we just ignore that this whole episode. Like they all just say, oh yeah, Allison killed their mom. Like, but she.
It was all about the stab wound. And it was just like.
And on top of that, I remember asking, I'm like, wait, if the stab wound wasn't what killed them, it was the drowning, why did they still send Tyler away?
Yeah.
Like.
We didn't really.
Like, they
get
never
that.
acknowledged that either. I'm like, are we just.
Well, no.
We're not going to talk about this.
There were a few spots, like, narratively speaking,
Mm-hmm.
that was like, I was just going to ignore this. Like,
Yeah.
I was just going to just ignore what happened, or like even just now, we had a nice moment with Eddie. It's like, well, I'm going to find out is Sammy my father, and
Yeah.
That's
And bye.
I'm like, okay.
And Eddie
sure.
was just like, okay, no problem.
Well,
like,
not only that, but she confessed to the murder as if she said like, I'm the one that took the last cookie from the jar, and then like he hugs her like, by the way, was Sam there that gave us a doll? It's like, yeah, you know what I think about it.
yeah, it's like completely changed subjects. No big deal.
No consequences.
Like,
no
this
nothing.
isn't gonna linger for a few days. It's not gonna impact our relationship. It's just there. It is.
Just homies start dapping, and it's like, boom, boom. All right, peace out. But
It's
you're
like, you lied to me for, I don't know, 13 years. You murder, quote unquote, someone.
Yeah.
But it's totally fine. I still love you. Like,
Yeah.
what? Yeah, it was kind of awkward.
Yeah. It's like, yes, you're seeing that like unconditional love of a parent. Like, he's like, I understand. It's fine. Like, we're just gonna not talk about it. But at the same time, it was. Like I said, it didn't even linger, like the emotions or anything. It wasn't like, all right, like we'll talk about it later. You go do what you need to do. It was, okay, bye. Like hug and say goodbye. Like, I feel great now.
I wish
it's just a weird transition.
I wish this moment was the last decision you have to make for chapter 1, so that you left on like a whole big like. You confess, and then Eddie has to think about it, and you have 2 more episodes to have it linger instead of the first. And pretty much the first big decision of chapter 3. And the developers, I'm sure, were just like,
like, oh, we should probably tell him at one point.
Yeah.
And then they realized they were running out of time and story, so just kind of put it in there and then said, okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's kind of like. It's similar, I should say, to when Mushroom died in Life is Strange. Oh, by the way, spoiler for Life is Strange 2. Mushroom dies. In the second episode, he gets eaten by a cougar, and it's like, man, my homie Mushroom, peace out, homie. And then they just kind of ignore it. Bye.
Yeah, like it didn't happen. I'm like,
dang.
It's a dog that died. That would destroy me even if it's not my dog.
Oh, by the way, did you kill the cougar, or did you let the cougar go?
I let the cougar go.
Oh, man, you're a better person than I am. I just straight up massacred that cougar.
I let the cougar go because it was better for the kid.
In that moment, like, I mean, it's nature.
Yeah.
I mean, nature is like that. Like, you can't just, like, put a moral thing on what a cougar did because he was hungry. Like,
yeah.
But killing it would mean that Daniel think it's okay to just randomly kill whatever that gets in the way when something wrong happens. And,
True.
I was like, he's an impressionable kid that can literally crush a living thing with his mind.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a healthy choice here.
Adam doesn't think those things through.
we kind of totally ignore the fact that it was a traumatic thing. Like, okay, Mushroom died. Like, the fandom was broken over it. Like, people were like, oh my god, no, Mushroom. They killed the dog. I can't believe it. That is evil.
Yeah.
And the game is like, move on.
Bye-bye.
Like, I don't think they really understand how much people love dogs.
Well, it's the same. It's the same in this situation. It's like, I'm the one who put the scissors in my mom's back. Oh, dude, bro, why would you do that? Anyways, like,
all right, we should move on to a different part of the game. We're going to talk about this way too much.
So,
also, like, one last thing.
Yeah.
There's another thing about it. Like, Eddie is not just the father figure for Alice. He's the chief of police.
Exactly.
Exactly. Like,
you're confessing the murder of your mother to the chief of police. It doesn't matter what relationship you have with him. It's still illegal for him to cover up. Like, he has to make a statement.
Yeah.
And like, that didn't show any moral struggle at all for him.
Yeah.
No. Like, it doesn't matter if I had to ignore the law, no matter my role in it. Like, it's all cool. Just go do what you need to do now and whatever. It's fun.
Yeah, like just even interviewing when I was going for the Philadelphia Police Department. Oh, the camera turned off.
That's not good.
Yikes.
That shouldn't have happened.
Well, we're just going to keep on talking. But yeah, when I was even going for the police academy and I was just interviewing for it, like I was going through the different steps. I was that close into it. And they will even ask you like, well, like if it came to it and your family member was committing a crime, would you arrest them? And they need to know that. Not just like, oh, would you arrest them? Like they like repeated, like, here's a situation. What would you do in this situation? I'm like, I would sell my family down the river. Like, but that's the thing. Just to get into the academy as a cadet, like you need to be ready to, arrest your family. Like even if it's like your own mother. And Eddie here, it's like, oh, bro, man.
So to keep in mind, this is a small town in Alaska, and you interviewed in Philadelphia.
True.
Yeah, well,
true.
That's a tiny difference here.
Like that small town in Alaska, like they all grew up together. They all went to high school together.
Yeah,
like,
and the mailbox bandit was actually a raccoon.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you're asking the chief of police to care that his daughter's the one that did it 10 years later.
Yeah, just dap. Anyways, we should move on.
Yes.
Because we're going to get so pissed off about this.
It's like it's one of my biggest nitpicks in this whole game.
So then, we go with the search for the father. There's some other things that happen here and there. I'm just hitting some highlights. We go to confront Sam, right? If he's the father. And Allison kind of avoids the question a little bit. And, Sam calls you a princess, like, oh, you don't give me that WD-40. Like, get the red can, princess. And it's just like, oh, yikes. Boomer humor, everybody.
Well, she even said, she's like, don't call me princess.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not a princess.
I feel that.
Mm-hmm. So let's just jump right to it because, again, this game likes to have you wander around. I'm trying to think if there's anything really important within Sam's boat shop.
She found out that he liked astronomy.
Yes, he likes astronomy.
I feel like he just talked about him and Marianne.
Yeah, he talked about him and Marianne. He talked about his ex-wife, like how's she doing?
How he like avoids her and everything, which I thought she was dead. So, there's that.
No, we saw her, man.
We did?
Yeah, Laura, the boat. The boat is the ex-wife.
No.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
I'm pretty sure it's the boat.
No.
Okay, then. But yeah, so I think we can just jump ahead to the big moment where Allison's like, Sam, are you our dad? And he just drops. And I like what he says, where he says, I wish I was your father.
Yeah.
And you have this big moment where he's starting to reflect on Marianne, that like Marianne would never be with a man like me. I mean, look at me. And he's just like, Sam is just like rock hard with abs and, he's chiseled.
He wasn't like that. He wasn't like a big drunk when they were younger, though. No. Like, you see pictures of him and he's young and
he's ripped.
I wouldn't say he's ripped. I'm just saying, like, he's not like, he's like you're talking like he's looked like that since he was 20.
I don't know. I look exactly like him and I feel like I'm just, anyways, but, see, don't give me that look now. But Mai, what did you think about this moment where Sam is trying to, confess to Allison that he wishes that he was her father, but Marianne would just never be with a man like him?
Honestly, like the whole Sam sequence, aside from like annoying me to no end, the fact that Allison will just not ask the damn question. I'm like, please, could you just get over with it?
Yes.
And then she blurts it out like, are you her father? I'm like, okay, sure.
That's one way to do it.
Right.
I wanted you to ask, but not like this.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, subtle as a punch to the face. And honestly, Sam made me so sad. Like, the conversation and how you discover this part of this character. Like, you see him He's a wreck. His place is a wreck. His life is a wreck. Everything is wrong with this man. And you kind of realize that he was so in love with Marianne, like in this deep, meaningful way. And it's been 13 years or 10 years since she died, and there was no way he was getting over from it.
Yeah.
And he said something about her that I was like totally in tears, like that he broke his leg in 3 parts and he got the breast. And that's a thing that I relate a lot. When you feel like you're useless and it sends you right into depression. Like, I'm not used to anyone because I am here stuck and I can do whatever I need to do. Like, and then Marianne took him out of that place, took him to see the boats in the port. And she said, I can't remember exactly the quote, and I hate myself for it, but it was along the lines like, you can't let yourself be defined by the broken parts.
I think that was it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to work with what you got. I'm like, oh my God, I need to stop this. I need to go and take a breather because damn, that hit me so hard. Yeah. So I get that Sam is so hooked up with her. Like, it's totally understandable, but he needs help, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of characters in this game that need help.
Yeah, dude.
They all need to get away from Alaska for a little bit.
And even
everyone in this game needs therapy, period.
Yes. Yeah.
Right now.
Well, not Michael. Michael's perfect, you know.
Michael is perfect.
Michael's perfect. But all perfect people also need therapy.
Yes, because clearly there's something wrong.
It's too perfect. And
exactly.
I am going to not trust you just because of that. Yeah.
You're too happy.
Yes.
Too happy, dude. Michael, too perfect. Go to therapy.
Figure out what's wrong.
But yeah, no, I definitely enjoyed this kind of confessional with Sam because gradually Sam is starting to walk as he's starting to talk about Marianne. You head up to his office. He's showing you pictures of Marianne.
I'm pretty sure that's where he lives.
Well, yeah, like the little
loft.
Yeah, the bear cave up there. And, you know, he starts to move over and he starts to get a little bit more depressed and he starts reaching for the alcohol, you know, very slowly as he's starting to talk about Marianne. He starts searching for
he's already drunk.
Yeah, that's the thing is that he's starting to search for what's left, you know, because he can't talk about Marianne for very long without trying to numb himself, you know. And within these pictures, you know, just want to point this out, you know, we see a picture where there's a loft up there. So they're like,
in the garage.
In the garage. It's like, oh, snap. There's a loft. And he's like, yeah, homie. There's a loft. And, you know, he starts to drink a little bit more. Like, dang, homie. Thank you. And
then you thought he died.
I thought he died. Like I straight up thought he died. Like
he's like it happened and I was like, oh cool. And Adam's like, what? And I'm like, baby, he's not dead. He just fell asleep. And he's like, I thought he died.
Like I thought like Allison's like, all right, rip, peace. Like I thought
again, Allison being as subtle as a punch to the face, like, okay, I got what I needed. Now I'm going to go. It doesn't matter if you're having like a seizure because you're way too drunk. It doesn't matter. I'm going to just steal this picture over here. I'm going to leave.
Yeah. Don't care if he's passed out drunk. Like that can't be healthy.
Yeah.
Don't care about him. Yeah. Gonna go. Okay, bye.
And that's the thing.
Oh, you're not my father. Okay.
You're not my father.
That's all I needed.
You're asleep right now. Peace. Bye. And she just goes. But like, I straight up thought like he just, you know, drunk himself to death. I'm like, holy crap. And then like Allison just leaves and it's like,
I'm like, he's not dead.
And it's like, oh, okay. I would at least poke him, you know, like you good, dude? Peace. But yeah, so we get that information from Sam. Sam is not the father. I have an envelope here. Sam, you're not the father. It's not him. And we go over, and the next scene is a very nice scene.
Oh my goodness.
A very good scene. Unless you're a heartless human being. There's a lot of fishing, and there's a lot of flirting going on.
Oh, jeez.
And Michael just comes up to Tyler and says, "Oh, hey, I just wandered over here. Just wanted to see if you're okay. It's me, yo boy, Michael." and and they just start talking, and then Tyler's going through a lot. He's trying to regain that memory from the pier, and Michael's trying to distract him. And Michael says, "You know what would help is a fishing pole." And I was like, "Dang, Michael,
oh my goodness,
nasty.
You're so stupid."
And then Tyler's like, "A fishing pole?" He's like, "Yeah, this fishing pole." I'm like, "Oh, Michael, I thought you were talking about something else."
Yeah, we know what you were thinking.
I thought, here's the thing though. Michael's like, "A fishing pole." And I was like, dang,
That's because you're dirty.
It's a player from the mayor.
No.
Okay. But then we go to the fishing grounds, and there's a lot of talking, Very nice scene.
It was nice.
Weird game mechanic. I was just like, can we just have a conversation and not have an interruption with the fishing? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a nitpick for me, right? And this isn't a really game review, but Mai, what did you think about this scene?
It made me feel like the game mechanic, as you mentioned, it made me feel like maybe I skipped dialogue without knowing.
Yes.
Like they were having a conversation and then suddenly, oh, there's a fish coming. I'm like, tell me what you were going to say just now.
Yeah.
Ignore the fish. It doesn't matter. Michael, talk to me. Yeah, like keep talking to me, man. And it was weird.
Yeah.
And the scene was so nice. It was so nice. And it took a while for Tyler to get a bit more vulnerable about it when he asked, I don't know how to be myself out there.
Yeah.
Should I risk it? Because it's going to hurt because, love hurts. And I was like, if you want to try, I am right here, darling.
Right? Man.
Look at this.
It's me,
yes,
Michael.
Man, it's me, Michael. And when the option showed up, I was like, yes, of course.
Same.
Take me now, Michael. Yes.
Yeah. I'm like, why is this a choice? This should not be a choice.
Yeah. It
should not be a choice. It's mandatory.
Yes.
Exactly. Out of all these games, and we talked about in one of our episodes where romancing in games, sometimes it's forced upon you. This is the only game that I would allow mandatory forced romance.
This is the only game that you agreed with the romance. You were excited for it.
I know.
Usually you're like, ew, get that out of here. I don't want to deal with that. And this one, you're like, yeah, Michael.
Go get him. Michael's number one fan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because here's the reason. I was thinking about it. Why do I like this romance so freaking much? And simply it's just because Michael's such a sweetheart.
He's such a genuine, lovely being.
He's just a lovely being. Great man bun. Fantastic man bun. Also, the hair on top of his head is nice. But
you're such an idiot. I can't stand you.
Anyways, but Michael's a nice person. But yeah, Michael's just a genuine person.
Yeah.
And then also Tyler is just trying to figure out who he is. And he's so, like what you were saying, Mai, is that he's so vulnerable and he's just searching so hard. And even Michael said, have you ever had a romantic relationship? And Tyler says, no, not really. Never really thought about it. And Michael's just so gentle about it. And he's just so cool. I think it's just this dynamic of just this really gentle person with this person who's so vulnerable, and that connection is
He's the perfect first boyfriend.
Yes.
And last.
Yeah. No. Yes. I was like, wait, last? No, they're gonna last forever.
Exactly.
But I got you because I'm your last boyfriend.
There you go.
Yeah.
You're my only boyfriend.
That's true. Yeah. I'm your Michael.
There you go.
You're my Tyler.
Huh?
What do you think, Mai?
I am not going to pull you out of that mess, man.
I just think, yeah, that's really why I like that romance so much. It's just a perfect match.
Yeah.
It's so well written, I think, in my opinion. Any other thoughts about Michael? Any other thoughts? I'll take any thoughts.
I think just stating that he's perfect is good enough.
Yeah.
And the fact that Tyler says at some point, like, I feel like I can tell you anything, whatever, and you'll be like totally cool and chill about it. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I have this vibe that Michael is really, really wise.
Yeah.
For some reason, like, I don't know. Tyler needs someone to confide and talk about stuff, like, and I feel like it's a perfect match, like you said. Like, it's great.
And
we all love Michael.
Yeah, Michael's great.
And his sister already approves.
Yeah,
because they're best friends.
And like you were saying, or somebody was, you were saying that in the chapter 1, where Allison looked at a picture of Michael and said, like, Tyler and Michael's gonna hit it off, like within the very first 10 minutes.
She approved before they even met.
Yeah, which I was like, killer. Yeah, let's go, Michael. Team Michael all the way. Anyways.
After we're done fishing, which, by the way, when we were doing the fishing and everything, I was like, oh, so it's like twin mechanics. Like for Allison, we had to match up the breathing, whereas with Tyler, we had to match up the fishing. Did you not catch that?
No.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is like the same mechanic, basically. So I was like, that's interesting how they just like did something like one for her and one for him. A little annoying, but okay.
Right. I just want to focus on Michael here, man. The one thing I want to focus on is not my breathing, but Michael. But so yeah, let's just move on to the loft, right? So after a lot of searching for ourselves, but also searching in the garage for
that was annoying.
That was annoying.
It's like you're supposed to know you're looking for a latch in the wall. I'm like, what am I looking for? The ladder is right there.
Yeah. Let's just go over here.
Get the ladder. And they're like, oh no, it must be here. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Why is it in the wall? Why is there a pull down? Why isn't there just a string like a normal attic?
Because there's secrets in it. Sorry, but there is. There's so many secrets in the loft. But let's just fast forward, because I think we're all in agreement here, because before we started recording, I think this scene especially, we were just all talking about how there's just way too many puzzles in this game, where we're just like, I just want to know who the daddy is. Yeah. That's it.
And you didn't even get that in the attic.
You didn't even get that in the attic. But you did get another piece of information. So
yes,
let's just fast forward through. We're up in the loft. Cool. And then we're going to fast forward through all those little puzzles. Going through it, even though Andrew is losing his mind because we're not talking about the Book of Goblins here. And
yeah, I'm sure he breezed through it because he already read all the stories.
That's true. But yeah, so we solved all the puzzles. What did we find in the loft, right? Like, we found out a lot about Marianne. More importantly, her past life. Yeah. And what the tiara actually meant in the first place.
And what she was running from.
Yes. So
finally.
Let's talk about this. What do we think about Marianne as a character when we found all these different informations about her?
First, I have to say, because I will be mad at myself if I don't.
Yeah.
The entire attic thing. I don't know if you guys played What Remains of Edith Finch.
I did, yeah. I don't think Liz did.
No, I didn't.
It's like that.
Oh,
like, there's
you're right.
a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
And like this building is falling apart, and suddenly in the attic everything is nice and really complicated. Why? Like,
yeah.
Why?
Yeah,
and it's
tell
like
me why.
Automatically I thought, like, yeah. you had to make the point.
You had to.
I thought like, this is Edith Finch. It's the same thing.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah, like it's a vibe there. And going to Marianne as a character, it's such a tragic story, man. Like, I wasn't ready for such level of tragedy everywhere. Like, okay, yeah, you're playing a Dontnod game. What did you expect, Mike? But yeah, It's really harsh. It's really harsh. It explains everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It explains everything. There's no loose ends here. Like, we get that she came from a family that had money, status, whatever you want to call it. Like, there was a lot of pressure on her to do the things her parents wanted. They ignored her desires and whatever she wanted to pursue in life. That cost her the boyfriend, whatever. And like, that's already harsh. Like, having your parents put so much pressure on you when you're a kid, it's just soul crushing. And then we find out about the kid, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Like, it destroyed me. Like, Jesus, she lost a child. I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. Like, when Eddie came and told her that social services are coming, like, she's losing her children again. I'm like, oh my god, this is terrible. This is so fucking terrible.
Yeah. Like that's all we thought. Like, because I like how at the end you had time to actually digest what you just read, because the puzzles were a little bit, I wouldn't say frustrating, but you're wanting so much to learn more about the game that these are kind of obstacles more than fun little puzzles for at least me. Mai, it sounds like you too. Like, you just want to know.
Yeah, like I enjoyed doing the puzzles; they were fun.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I just wanted to know what was behind the puzzle. Like, I'm like, can I just get to the letters that are interesting?
Yeah,
Let's
exactly.
get to that now.
And that's the thing, is that you get to learn much more, that she wanted to be a dancer. She wanted to go into visual arts, not engineering. And I'm sure, I think all of us, here can maybe relate. I don't know about you, but this sort of parental kind of pressure where you want to go into something, it's like, oh, that doesn't make a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's
is that right for you? Like, questioning.
Yeah.
Is that really what you want to do? Like, her mom took it to the next level and was like, you're not changing majors, and just took the papers.
Yeah. Very true. Like, Mai, I see you have a thought in your head.
I mean, I am a game developer.
Yeah.
Like, I make art for video games. Can you imagine the look my parents had when I told them, hey, I want to make video games? I was like, ooh, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, are you sure you want to pursue this? Because, and here in Argentina, the market for video games is like tiny.
Really?
And the industry is like very indie and very green. And you're like, you're not in the best place to do this. Like,
yeah.
I mean, there's no market.
Yeah.
Yet it turned out okay, right?
Right.
At first,
yeah.
At first they were like, really? Don't you want to, I don't know, study business? I'm like, no way.
Yeah.
And I can't relate to that because casually it's arts what she wants to pursue. And there's this thing about people studying fine arts or visual arts that people don't consider it a job.
Yep.
They don't understand how hard it is, how much skill you need, the investment you put in it, the time, the practice, the study. You're constantly working on yourself to be better.
Yeah.
And then you have people that, I don't know, they don't even consider that a job. They talk about like, it's a hobby, like, oh, you make games for fun.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
And I relate to that because I can imagine that someone as strict as her mother will like, no, you're going to engineer, which still for a woman in that time studying engineer was like,
Yeah.
because usually it's a weird choice considering the context, historical context.
Oh yeah.
But still, like, she wouldn't be able to do what she wanted to do.
Exactly.
The pressure is just, and then we find that the dad sent her a letter
about her mother. Oh my god!
And it started off real nice, and it was like, then this happened, and we understand. And then gradually, it just got bad. Like it just got evil.
Yeah, and that's the thing.
Yeah, suddenly was like you weren't here for the funeral or whatever. Like your mother passed on. Like this is really hard, and it was your fault, and you are teaching your kids wrong. I'm like, excuse me, what? Like, I got like really worked up with that letter because like it was so nice, and suddenly everything is wrong, man.
Yeah.
Like, sure. Thank you, Dad.
Yeah.
And he doesn't. And the thing is that I thought about was that grandfather doesn't know the twins are there.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know that his grandson died.
Yeah, it was just talking about Leo, who we found out is the child that died, and that was what the tiara was all about in her stories. We even get a final letter or a final poem from Marianne saying that how she took what was so precious to her, but then one night the tiara shattered, and that's where she started to change who she was. She started to really change her mentality after that. And I don't blame her for that. Yeah, that's a hard thing to go through. And that's the thing, is that you have this pressure of your family to not pursue what you love. Then you have this child. When I think out of wedlock, I started to think that maybe the father abandoned her too. I don't know if it actually said if the father stayed or if he left her.
I think the father wanted her to have an abortion.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that, I think Leo's dad wanted her to get rid of the pregnancy.
Yeah. So it was, so the father wasn't really there for her. So she was trying to take care of this kid. And then the child ends up dying. Like that just changes your entire perspective. And I think this starts to change into from what chapter 1 we thought Marianne was, where she was judging Tyler for, trying to be who he is, when in all actuality, Marianne not only was supporting him, but related to that entirely, where she was trying so hard
to just figure out who she is.
And the pressures of all that, and at the time, where Tyler was saying that, this is becoming personal, like she's saying no to me, but in a whole time, Tessa is threatening Marianne with, I'm calling child services. So she has a lot to go through in all of this. I think this scene altogether handled who Marianne is as a character very well, because we get to hear and see and look at these letters of who she is instead of just kind of secondhand stories from townspeople. We get to read the letters and see the trophies and see the picture of Leo. Which, by the way, one little side note, right after they see the picture of Leo, the twins start to say, "Oh, well, we weren't supposed to see this. I think this was secret." Literally on the back of the picture, like it said Allison and Ollie, and there was a letter written, so it was meant for them.
Like it was meant for them. Like, what are you talking about? You're not supposed to see this. She did this whole thing for you two.
Yeah, exactly. She gave you the Book of Goblins
so that one day you'd find this.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's a tiny nitpick.
Yeah,
but handled very well.
Yes.
Before we move forward, with who Papa is, do we have any other thoughts about the loft scene?
I did think it was awkward. I mean, I liked the opportunity that they offered to have you do the rest of the puzzles in the room. One, don't know why you had more puzzles if you weren't going to use them. And two, it was very awkward to be like, let's go to the tree where she buried Leo. But wait, let's figure out more puzzles.
I know.
I'm like, what?
That was kind of a weird game mechanic thing. Like that was definitely a developer thing. Like you have an option to go to where the child is buried or puzzles.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
It's like that's a weird writing move.
And then we didn't go to the tree anyway. We went to the dock.
Yeah.
To figure out who the daddy was.
Yeah. Mai, any other thoughts about this before we move on?
Yeah, I was like weirded out. And in this kind of games, you really want to get everything. Because every little bit of information is important. And then you go to the trapdoor and you're leaving because, I got rid of the damn puzzles. I got information. And then Allison's like, are you sure you want to leave? And when a character tells you, are you sure you want to leave? It's like, because we are not going back and you're going to miss all this juicy information that's scattered around the room. And like, okay, I'm going to do the puzzles. Jeez.
Yeah.
And I went, did it. They didn't mean anything. I'm like, Dontnod, please.
Yeah.
Just cut it out. And the fact that they show you the tree and you want to like check, like, it's kind of like weird considering the circumstances, but you want to check that's real, and then you don't go. Like, it never happened. And like, I want to go to the tree. No, let's go to the dock.
Exactly. Yeah. It was.
Don't tell me to go to a tomb and then drag me to the dock. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It was.
Overall, I think the scene was really nice, though.
Yeah.
It was nice with some weird pacing moves, and I think this whole chapter was just trying to end it. I think this game could have been better if it was 5 episodes.
Yeah, like they gave themselves more time.
Yeah, a little bit more stretched out, maybe. But I felt like this chapter was everything that they wanted to pack in. But yeah, I think it's time. Because we're almost an hour into this episode. So let's get to the dock, right? And once again, we use twin powers activates, and we start to see a memory. And it's like, oh, we need to know who it is. And everything goes up. Scooby-Doo appears. You know, we take off the mask, and it says it was Old Man Jenkins all along. No, I'm just kidding. It wasn't Old Man Jenkins.
We know.
Because Chris Thompson was right. It was Tom Vecchi. And you know why it was Tom Vecchi? Because Tom Vecchi doesn't meddle in other people's affairs, but he meddles in his own affairs.
No.
It's a good joke.
No, it's not.
It's a fantastic joke.
No.
Thank you, Mai, for laughing. You're such a good guest, Mai.
I think she's laughing at you.
I deeply appreciate all your puns and jokes. Like, seriously, I love it.
Mai, you're my favorite guest.
I am Team Adam.
That's why Mai's on here, you know?
Yeah.
That's why you're never a guest. You're only a host. That.
Just remember, I live here.
Oh, right. Shoot. Anyways, so Tom Vecchi is Papa Tom Vecchi.
Yes.
Yeah. So we find out. Were we shocked at all?
No, because our last guest ruined it.
Yes, he did. But Mai, were you shocked?
I wasn't. Like, it wasn't a plot twist to me at all. Like, it would have been a plot twist if it was like, I don't know, Eddie suddenly.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, it's Eddie. I feel betrayed. But Tom, like,
yeah.
I don't know if you want to edit this, but he has always been an asshole. Sorry.
Go for it.
So I am not surprised. And there's another thing that I have to point out.
Yeah.
His voice, his damn voice. His voice is so specific. And when we see the memory that he's in the boat, like, it's his voice. Like, yeah, it's Tom Vecchi, the one that's in the boat. Like, I'm on episode 2 and I already know who the father is. Like, I just need confirmation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't a plot twist to me.
Yeah.
And finally, like, where we find out it's Tom. By the way, we already know that Tom was the one who burned the barn down. We know it's Tom who was pretty much threatening Marianne. All of a sudden, Allison's going to call and say, like, hey, Tom, know you're our papa. Come find us. It's like, whoa. He seems like he could be a
little bit of a threatening person.
So let's not just say, like, hey, Tom, could we meet for coffee?
Though honestly, I think they could both take him. It's not like he's a large man.
Yeah, but at the same time, you know, we don't know if it's Alaska. You know, they got shotguns over there. But or he could let a bear loose. Oh my goodness, Alaska has a lot of bears.
Let a bear loose?
Yeah, like a bear.
I'm pretty sure they're already.
No, I mean, like, he has it in the back of his truck and he goes, go. His name is Bernard the bear. Go, Bernard. And Bernard just gets set loose and he gets to mauls you to death. Oh my God, Tom, no. Oh, that's scary.
And again, when all this happened, they brought up he's going to tell the whole town that Allison killed her mom. I'm like, but she didn't kill her.
So let's fast forward to that. To Tom. Tom's coming over and he's just saying, like, oh yeah, I'm actually your dad. And, you know, we're trying to say, you know, make it right, Tom. And he's like, oh, keep it a secret. And then we start to say, like, oh, it's going to falter his campaign. And like you said, Tom says like, well, I know what actually happened. You did it, Allison. Everyone's going to hate you. Let's talk about that for a second.
She already told Eddie and he doesn't care. So.
And
who else cares?
Once you tell the town, like, yeah, well, 11-year-old Allison stuck scissors in her mom. It's like, okay.
Like, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like, she was 11 years old. It looked like she was threatening her brother. Like, yes, in that 11-year-old brain, that's what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I personally, if I heard that, I was like, wow, shocking, but I'm not going to hate her.
Yeah. Mai, what did you think about this kind of threat by Tom?
That was so flat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I said, what's Eddie going to think? Oh, I already told him. It's
yeah,
fine.
like we ignored that.
I have the chief of police like backing me up, like doing illegal things for me.
And
yeah.
And she's moving to Juneau anyway.
Yeah. It's like, who cares?
Like, it's not like people will care after 10 years or whatever. Like, it's already done. Someone already paid for it.
Yeah.
And like, okay, sure, tell everyone I am a murderer. And that also kind of weird because it puts him in the scene. Like, it's kind of self-incriminating. Like, you're admitting that you were there, you were a witness, and you didn't say anything. Like, isn't that shooting yourself in the foot? Like,
exactly.
I don't know. It was weird. And he's a total coward, though.
Like,
yeah.
No, it was. It was just a total coward move. And then we get, by the way, when we got the cutscene, I was like, you know what? Good for Tom for rocking that goatee for so many years. That's something that you can't really pull off. But Tom Vecchi, I'll give you that. You can rock a goatee for many years.
The only reason I think it's weird that he's a dad is because it's like, why is that her choice in affair?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like him over Sam.
Him over Sam over Eddie. I'm like, why Tom?
Yeah,
What is so attracting about him?
The goatee. It's everything about the goatee, dog.
I don't think so.
It's like
it's your best friend's husband, and he's not that attractive in personality.
Hey.
Or looks.
That goatee, though.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
But like,
oh my God.
like you have this like great, nice guy in Sam. I mean, he was married, but you apparently don't care about that one.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't find it, like, I understand that's canon, that's how it is now, but I don't understand, like,
yeah,
they did, I don't know.
I think Mai has something on her thoughts.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
He's so lame. like, seriously, like, can you think about a less interesting man to have an affair? Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Like, I feel so free when I'm with you because I never got to do anything with my life. I'm like, yeah, that's such a great batch. Like,
yeah.
You're totally lame. You're absolutely boring. You have nothing to bring to the table. And like, sure, let's go have an affair.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
That's why I doubted him being the dad, because it just wasn't matching. Like, her personality and him, I'm like, that can't be right. Like,
I wish it was Eddie. I so wish it was
Eddie or Sam.
Yeah. Like, okay, let's take a vote here. Well, not a vote, but like, opinion wise, if it was a choice and we were developing the game and the choice was to write in Sam being the father or Eddie, what do you think would be a better writing choice? Mai, as our guest, what do you think?
I think I'll go with Eddie. Because it's Dontnod, it needs to be sad, tragic, and make you suffer. And Sam is such a nice guy, despite, a few things. But, like, it would be a really happy thing that Sam would be, like, a present father. Like, he accepted Tyler after a brief conversation. Like, it would have been good. And Dontnod doesn't do that. So, already that you need a plot twist and you need to crush people's hearts. I will go with Eddie.
Oh, straight up, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I would probably do Eddie, but I would need I probably need more amount of time to like live. Like, I would probably, if I had you, it would be announced in like the second episode to see the fallout. Because I feel like that's important, like how this affects Allison and his relationship. Like, how, and then in the third episode, it's like how it ends. Like, I don't know. I would either need a longer third episode or like find out in the beginning of the third episode. And yeah, probably the beginning of the third episode.
Yeah.
So that you have a little fallout, not like the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, I agree. Much like when I said with my genius quote, but the end of chapter 1, we get to hear Allison confess that she was the murderer to Eddie.
Yeah.
End of chapter 2, Eddie confesses to Allison that I am your father.
No.
And then Allison's like, no, that's not true. That can't be so. And he's like, search your feeling, Allison. You know it to be true. No. Join our police force.
What?
And we can rule Delos Falls. Delos Park.
Delos Crossing.
Delos Crossing as father and daughter.
No. What about her brother?
And then they pull out police enforced lightsabers.
She's still moving to Juneau.
See, this is how you take down a bear in Delos Crossing. You got to take out a police lightsaber.
Why is that the noise you make for a lightsaber?
Back on topic. I'm still a good boy, right?
Yes, dear.
I'm a good boy?
Yes.
Thank you. But yeah, so I also believe that Eddie would be a better choice to be a father. Sam, I think, would be a really good choice. I wouldn't complain about that.
No.
Because Sam is very close. It's still an affair. It gives a reason why Laura's gone. I still think that would have been a great storyline, but Eddie straight up would have been
the Dontnod thing to do. Whereas
Tom Vecchi, when I mentioned Scooby-Doo was there, it was a joke, but it really did feel like a Scooby-Doo moment.
It's like,
what? It's Tom Vecchi? And, Scooby-Doo ends like, wow, that was a crazy episode. Like, same thing with this one. It's like, wow, Tom Vecchi? What a crazy episode. And that's what it felt like. It felt like a Scooby-Doo villain reveal. More than anything like that was heartbreaking.
Like, this seemed like this game as a whole was very weird, and the third episode was probably the weirdest. It was like it would like have a Dontnod moment, and then it'd be like something stupid. I'm like,
yeah,
like they forgot to linger on the big parts like they're supposed to.
Well, we're gonna get to that in our bonus episode next week.
I know.
As a whole, but we'll announce that at the end of this episode.
You just announced it.
Well, I already announced that there's a bonus episode, but I didn't announce who the guest is.
This is true.
I will announce it at the end of this episode.
Okay.
But yeah, so that's the thing, is that Tom Vecchi is the father. And that's the thing where he starts to threaten these kids. It's just very weird.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the most important part, is that Tom Vecchi starts to say that, well, here's what actually happened, right? And he says that, basically that Marianne wasn't actually threatening them. He was, she was trying, by the way, wasn't threatening, but still chasing her child with a shotgun. Wait, honey, hold on. I want to love you and hug you. Also shoot you, but hug you.
And that's what I mean. Like, yes, Allison,
but she still had a shotgun in her hand.
Saying, Allison stabbed her, and when she wasn't, like, it wasn't in self-defense, but in that 11-year-old mind, you see your scared brother on the ground. Your mom has a shotgun in her hand.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Like, you're 11. Like, you don't have those, like, connective thoughts yet.
I'm not a parent, but I'm pretty sure that if my kid thought I was going to shoot him, I wouldn't bring my gun.
Yeah, I wouldn't be chasing him with a gun.
Yeah.
But she was about to commit suicide, so I don't think
I wanted to bring that up in a better transition, but you already
too late. You need to tell me these things. But she was about to commit suicide, so I really don't think she was in the best mindset to be like, I should put this down.
So let's actually talk about that. Let's actually talk about why she had the shotgun in the first place, where we start to realize that she was going to end her life here.
Yeah.
And by the way, I like how this game ends. It actually shows you the phone number for the National Suicide Hotline. Did it show it in Argentina then?
Yeah, it did. And they put the international
that's right.
code. Like, they'll just send you the link to the resources worldwide, so you could look up your own. And when I finished the game, Soviet mess aside, I was like really, really grateful that they did that. Like,
Yes.
I deeply appreciate when the developers like know they are, playing with a touchy subject and can bring a lot of emotional stuff back, and I love that they do that.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I appreciated the way they handled this, that Marianne just had enough. Like, they set it up in a way where it wasn't that, oh, she's crazy, so she's suicidal. But you get to this moment out of context.
Yeah.
And that's what I love the most about this. Okay, I shouldn't say I loved that she was about. No. Dang, dude.
You like the way the moment was created.
I love the way the moment was created. It was out of context. And I think, again, I know that's what suicide comes to. It's out of context. It's not just one thing.
One incident.
It wasn't one incident. It wasn't one bad day. It could be out of one moment, one big giant, but it's not out of one incident, but it's over time. And we get to learn more about Marianne, how she was struggling to, make ends meet. But even before that, she lost a child. And before that, her mother pressured her. And before that, right, like, she wanted so badly to be an artist. And it's just all this culminated to the point where she was about to lose her children again.
Yeah.
And she still can't make ends meet. And she still thinks that Eddie's against her. Tessa's against her. She had an affair with Tessa's husband, and Tessa knows this. And it's all of that big context. And I love, and again, I don't love the scene, but I love how Dontnod handled it, where it was the context of the suicidal and not just she's crazy, that's why she's suicidal.
Yeah.
Am I making sense here?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, you are.
But Mai, what are your thoughts on that?
It's really hard, but I do think that we have this tendency, like media or in real life, like, it's like you said, like, it's crazy because she wants to kill herself, like, and it's this struggle, and it's the not knowing what depression and trauma and grief can do to a person, like. That's why I think, like, her story is so crushing, because it's a tragedy from the beginning to the end, and it humanizes in a way people that go through that stuff, because it's easy to see the numbers on a page, see that there's people committing suicide all over for whatever reason, like, but they are just numbers. Can we just focus on the fact that there's a human being that is generally believing that it's better off dead? That continue to, like, get up every day and continue the struggle. Like, at what point you have to be that you consider this as a viable option, and sometimes the only option. So we need to see through the numbers. We need to see through the cultural beliefs of weakness and like therapies for weak people, and you don't need help, like, shut up. It's not like that. Like, we need to see through that.
Yeah.
And I think they made it, like, perfectly. Like, Dontnod has this way of, as much as you have really awkward and weird silences and conversations, when they have to provoke a feeling and give you food for thought, they really go all the way.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah, I agree.
That's why I said in the beginning of this episode that this isn't about a game review. This is about the story. And I think that's where Dontnod has its strengths.
Yeah.
Is that there's a lot of times where Dontnod games can be
annoying,
clunky, but they hit the nail on the mark, especially with Life is Strange 2 and the whole issues of immigration and saying that, like, oh, this isn't your country, blah, blah, blah. And they hit the nail on the mark. Same thing goes for Tell Me Why, is that, they hit the nail on the mark, especially with context.
They do their research.
Yeah.
Thoroughly.
And that's what I loved about it, because I was fully expecting Tell Me Why. And again, we're going to talk about this in our bonus episode. But I fully love how this game didn't just focus on transgender issues, which is an important subject. But they said there's so much more to this that we need to figure out.
Yeah.
including suicidal tendencies, which is, I'll say it, plaguing the transgender community, right? And a lot of people want to say that the transgender community is committing more suicide because, it's messing with their hormones, blah, blah, blah. Really comes down for acceptance.
Yeah.
Right? Why did Marianne become suicidal? She didn't feel accepted, right?
Yeah.
Same thing with transgender community, right? They don't feel the love. They don't feel the acceptance. They feel like they're less than human because society puts them in that way, right? That's what we need to focus on, is that the context matters and not they're crazy, right? I thought that was an important note that Dontnod really specified. And I know I'm getting in a serious tone here, but this was something that I love how we ended on.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, I shouldn't say that because we didn't really end on that. I felt like this should have been the way it ended. So let's talk for a little bit. Let's kind of get out of this serious sadness. I don't want to end on a sad note here, but we end up deciding how the night went, how the night actually went. And I almost called you Tessa, and I don't know why, but how did you remember that night?
Why Tessa though? Like,
I don't know.
A cooler character, maybe. Call me Michael. I mean,
Michael, it's the same thing.
I was like, I love this thing first that they remember things differently because it's an actual thing. Like, you will leave something with someone, and you will remember in one way, and the other person could completely miss the mark, like in comparison with what you remember. The fact is the same, but the context is totally different. And I love that they use this a lot here. And still, when we got the choice, like, okay, let's pick what was really what happened. Like, Marianne was threatening Tyler with a shotgun, or she wasn't. I'm like, after all we've seen, why is this even a choice?
Yeah.
I mean, we already established that Marianne had like a tragic story, a lot of things she was struggling with, like all the situation with Tom. And like, why is this a choice? Like, clearly she wasn't threatening Tyler. Like, at the same time, it would mean that Allison would have to accept that she provoked the situation without reason, which is even worse. Like, if she was actually threatening Tyler, okay, you have a point to stand, but here wasn't a thing. Like, you just went stop your mother. That wasn't a threat to your brother. It's totally cool. And I think it was more related to that. So Allison could like accept full responsibility, because it's what Tyler says. He says to her, like, you need to start taking responsibility for your actions. You need to step up. You need to stop bottling up and ignoring the problems, because the problems are not going to go away because you ignore it. They are there. You need to, move on, continue your life, accept what happened. And I think this is it. It's not if we decide that Marianne was actually threatening Tyler or not. It was Allison finally accepting full responsibility for her actions, and not just, okay, this is what happened.
No, I agree.
Well, of course I chose that she wasn't a threat, right? Because obviously this isn't a choice, guys. Please.
Really. That's what we chose. I felt the same way, where it's just like, I think the truth came out. We have the context. We know who Marianne is at this point. I agree with you. That, like,
it seems out of character at this point that she would be threatening to kill her child. Whereas the only reason I struggled was because it's like, we were so dead set this entire game that Marianne was threatening Tyler, where it's like, now we're going to go with the idea of the guy that just threatened us. Like, that's where it seemed off to me. I'm like, are we going to go with the story about from the guy that we hate now.
Yeah.
Like that bothered me. I'm like, could it have come from a nicer person?
Right.
So I felt more open to choosing that. I chose it in the end, but I wasn't happy about it.
No, I agree. Yeah. Yeah, it was just such a weird thing to choose that in the end, I feel like the context we should have just ended with that she wasn't a threat.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it was.
Well, I think my problem was that it was labeled Tom's perspective.
Yeah, Tom's perspective.
It's like, can we have labeled it something? Could it not have anything to do with Tom?
Yeah.
So that I feel more open to choosing it?
Because we all hate Tom right now.
Yeah.
Right? Like freaking Tom and his bear.
Damn it. Like, oh God. Like, he's so lame.
Yeah.
I can't get over it. Like,
Can't handle how lame he is.
oh my God. Like, I think it was worse because if he was outright evil, like, he's evil. Like, period. I hate you. You're evil. Blah. Like,
yeah.
he's a damn coward. He's manipulative as hell. And we saw him manipulate Allison in this very episode, like trying to pin her against Tyler constantly. I'm like, really? Like, this guy is right. I have to choose this because Tom freaking Becky saw like what happened. I have to leave him. But it makes sense. So like, I don't know. Like,
that was my like internal struggle. I'm like, I know it's right, but I don't want to give him the justification.
Yes. It's like, I don't want to say Tom Becky was right.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Allison has to, like, I don't know, lose her mind with guilt. I don't care.
Yeah.
Tom Becky will not be right.
But at least he lost the race in the end. So.
Yeah. So let's just go to the end because we're coming up on that hour-and-a-half mark.
Oops.
Well, it was a longer episode anyway. But yeah, so that ends. Then we get 6 months later. Tyler cuts his hair off for some odd reason.
Don't know why I did that. I'm real mad about that.
Yeah, he had glorious hair, and I was like, "Hey, now."
I'm like, "What? He had beautiful hair. What are we doing?"
Yeah. So 6 months later, no more hair for some reason, and then we found out they moved to Juneau with Perfect Michael, and that
Tyler is joining them because he never actually gave them an answer during the gameplay.
Yeah, but they're going to prom together. They're going to the JCE prom, and I'm like, hey. They're going to prom, and I want to see Michael in a tuxedo, and that will be great. Anyways, but Allison is in therapy, and not only did Tom Vecchi lose the race, the political race, but then Tessa leaves him.
Yes,
because and then we see a letter from Tessa saying that, I think I was just against you because you were the fruits of Tom's affair and I treated you unfairly.
Yeah.
But now I'm on my way out of the life. But yeah, so Tom lost. He's a loser. So lame. Bye, Tom. You can get eaten by Bernard the bear. But that's it pretty much for the game. Game is over. Final chapter. And yeah, so let's just talk about closing thoughts. And then I want to talk a little bit, like a couple minutes on what you're working on with the Life is Strange fan club. But let's go around the table here. Who wants to go first? I feel like I'm a classroom teacher. Like, who wants to go first? Like, final thoughts. Raise your hand.
I'll go.
Okay.
So my final thoughts is just that I enjoyed the episode, but I feel like there was the most awkward things in this episode out of all three. Like, there were like weird. It's like in this episode, they're like, we need to tie these ends up, and they just kind of threw them in places.
Yeah.
So it was kind of awkward. Like, yes, the story was great in the end. Like, it was a good story for that episode, but I wish it was a little more cohesive and flowing.
Yeah.
But that's really it. But I enjoyed the episode.
Yeah.
Other than the things I disagree with.
I enjoyed it, except for the things I didn't enjoy.
I enjoyed it, but I disagree with some of their choices.
I feel you there.
You feel me?
I feel you, girl. Dap me.
No.
No. Okay. If Maya was here, she would. Would you dap? Dap? No dap?
Yeah.
You would dap. Thank you, Mai. Maya's a good person, but you are not.
Yeah,
Anyways.
I deal with you every day, though. She doesn't.
My closing thoughts. What do you think? Go for it.
I think it had very nice moments. Like there are some scenes that are going to be stuck with me, especially one we didn't talk about. That was when they decide if they are going to keep their connection.
Oh yeah,
man. Like I said, we only did highlights, and we're already an hour and a half in.
Yeah.
Play the episode if you haven't. Go for it.
Of course, like that scene where like they remember the mother like reading one of the goblin tales, but it's not a memory. She is looking straight to them, like physically, like they are seeing her, and that scene broke me. And Sam's scene broke me, and there's these beautiful moments that only those make it worth playing the story and seeing the story through. But yeah, you are in for a few really awkward things, man.
Yeah.
Like there were moments I was cringing on my seat, like, no, I mean, we just had this beautiful, well-made, contextual thing that really touched me, and then I had to stand this awkward thing, really awkward. Like I had like mixed thoughts about that, but it's definitely Dontnod style, if I dare to say that.
Yeah.
So you know what you're in for, really.
Yeah.
So it's worth going through just for these moments and the fair representation. Like I am not part of the trans community. I am a LGBT plus, but I am not. Like I can talk from the trans experience, but I do feel that they were fair and thoughtful about it. And I think everyone should like at least give it a try just to see fair, valid representation for once in media. Like just for that, go play it. Definitely.
I definitely wholeheartedly agree. I think this chapter definitely was flawed in the way of editing. And we don't edit the podcast in terms of editing, chopping down things, because I like the whole raw conversation. I like the feel of that. But when we go into our other videos, coffee games, if you haven't checked out our videos yet, but even coffee games, it will be plagued if we don't edit those awkward times out where I'm just looking at my phone, reading it, or I'm drinking the coffee, or just saying like, oh, retry. If I don't edit those parts out, then you won't be impacted by the conversation. Same thing goes for this episode. I think those awkward bits could have been edited out. We could have had a shorter episode so that when those impactful moments happened,
they fell right.
They would just hit you like, dang it. Oh, don't be defined by your broken parts, and dang it. But then instead, we're left with these awkward pacing moments where like, oh man, like don't be defined by your broken tails. Oh, you're asleep now. Got it. Okay, we're gonna move forward. And that's the thing, is that I feel like if it was paced better, the impact. But I agree with Mai that the moments that were there were incredibly impactful, were incredibly true and raw in the way it felt, especially in the Loft Scene where we're reading and just looking at Marianne's life, and you get to see the context of where she is today or where she was before that night. I think that was just fantastic. And the representation of just panic attacks in the beginning of this episode, I think was really well adjusted. That's what Dontnod does. I like what you said, that Dontnod, it's their style. You know what you're in for. If you've played Life is Strange, if you've played Remember Me, because the Dontnod game, it wasn't that good. If you played Before the Storm, of course, this is what you're in for. But I think that does it with chapter 3. But yeah, definitely check it out for yourself if you haven't, if we haven't spoiled you already. But before we go, Mai Queti, most importantly, you're here because you're a good person and I wanted to talk to you anyway, but because I think you were an expert on the actual subject of a Dontnod game. Why is that? What are you doing?
Well, I kind of really landed on some crazy project.
Yeah.
It was mind-blowing that my friend Chris was doing, and he made a website all by himself.
Yeah.
Without knowing programming, which was insane. I was like, I love this game. I want to make a community. I want to get people together. I'm like, okay, let's do it. What do I do? How do I help to make this real? And it has been like 5 years or so, 4 years, more or less.
Wow.
And we built this massive thing. We are currently having a Discord. You can check the link later, where you can join and talk about the Life is Strange franchise, and Tell Me Why is also included.
Nice.
And we talk about pretty much anything. There's also a support group, so you can go talk to people about what's bothering you. Of course, please seek a professional if you need help. We are just like here to listen to you if you need to. And yeah, like we are renovating the website, so at some point it will be finished.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's a hub for all the Life is Strange fans that want to connect with other people that enjoy the games and debate about it, and it's really cool.
That's awesome. I mean, by the way, you can send me a link because the link will be for that Discord channel. The link will be in the description down below. I'll even include the Life is Strange website because it will be back someday, so you have it in your back pocket if you're listening to this in the future. But yeah, the link to the Discord as well as the website. Any other projects that you would like to plug on this that you're working on?
Well, I've been totally unrelated, but since this is a shameless self-promotion
Go for
moment, I will allow myself to do it. I've been working on for a while with another friend. We were building an entire fantasy world from scratch, which has been insane. I have no idea when we are ever going to be finished, but the idea was that we have a lot of stories to tell and characters to share with everyone. So I hope that at some point that's a reality. And yeah, I don't know. Follow me on Twitter. I make games.
That's amazing stuff. And I'll also have her Twitter linked in the description down below if you want to give her a follow. We're past the hour and a half mark. It's been so great. Oh no, my earbuds are falling out. It's been so great having you on. It seriously has. You've been laughing at my jokes. You've been laughing at my jokes. You've also been laughing at my jokes. So I very much appreciate you, Mai. You're so great. Great guests.
Yes.
But thank you again for coming on. Thank you for taking time to do this. Any final words? Just from you personally. Anything?
Thank you for having me.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It has been great. I had a great time. And yeah, I will back you up on any jokes you want to make because they're amazing. I'm sorry. And
thank you.
Yeah, I don't know. I love what you guys do. So keep at it because it's great. We need more of this.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
We love what you're doing. You and Chris, what you're doing with the community over at Life is Strange, especially the support groups. That's something that's needed too. I just feel like this whole world needs positivity from all of us. We're all a contributing factor into that. So I'm not the driving force. You're not the driving force, but us as a team. We're here just to spread positivity in the community, and I love what we're all doing here. Also, please look for Bernard the Bear.
Oh,
He's
my
been
goodness
set loose by
gracious.
Tom
Close the
Becky. So I think that can do it for this one. Again, Mai Queti, thank you for coming on the show. We'll have all those links down in the description down below, whether you're listening on audio or you're watching us on video. And since you've made it this far, since you're a trooper, you get to hear who is next week's guest. That's right. We're going back to the old Games and Groceries format. Going back to episode 116, these episodes didn't count for those numbers, but episode 116, we're going to be having final thoughts on Tell Me Why with special guest Katie Bentz, who voiced Steph from Before the Storm. I know.
Oh, that's amazing, dude.
She's so excited to come on. Like, we were emailing. She's like, are we still good? I was like, yeah, Katie. I'm so excited. But yeah, we're going to be talking just our final thoughts, rounding up what we're talking about. And and just getting to know Katie Bentz a little bit better. So again, it's been a special privilege just to talk to you. I just want to let you know that I've been telling all of our guests who have come on for the Tell Me Why, Andrew Orsi, but also Chris Thompson. Chris Thompson's great. Andrew, thank you for coming on. Chris, thank you for coming on. But thank you. We couldn't have done this project without you. Really, honestly, we wanted your perspectives from all around the world, from down in South America. We just wanted your perspectives. So thank you for sharing that with us. Honestly, really, thank you.
Thank you, man. I am honored to be here.
No problem. All right, let's end it there. So thanks again for listening to the final episode of our Tell Me Why Roundtable. Definitely go back for our other episodes if you haven't listened to those yet. And with all that said and done, we'll see you in the next episode with episode 116. Have a good one.
Bye.